2.5 years. In less than a month, I will have posted my first review 2.5 years ago. Back then, I thought I was jumping into a burgeoning market where I was quickly going to become a massively popular critic who could change the landscape of games critique just like those I looked up to. Yeah, that's right, I'm not going to pretend I didn't think I was going to be a success. I'm human. I have an ego. Of course I think my work is worth something. I thought I could reach like 10,000 subs and build a real community in the first year alone. I don't think there's anything wrong with that sort of ambition, other than that none of it happened. Almost 90 videos later, thousands of hours of editing, and I'm sitting at 88 subs. Now, don't be mistaken, I'm very, very grateful for every sub, every comment, every like, every dislike, every minute watch. Seriously, people have watched my content for over 35,000 minutes. That's an insane amount of time. And yet, I'm still disappointed. Not in anyone but myself, of course, but clearly I've been doing something wrong. The reason I was so ambitious in the first place was because I wanted my content to foster discussion. I wanted it to get people thinking, to grow nuance and respect within video games criticism. I wanted my channel to do good things for the industry, and for those that are entertained by it. So yeah, it's disappointing to have reached so few people. So Sweet Tea! That's the dumb name I gave myself for my first review. Sweet Tea, are you done with YouTube then? Please don't go! I hear maybe one of you asking. No, I'm not done with YouTube. Unless something absolutely terrible happens, in which case you should be following me on Twitter so that I can give you a heads up on the situation. I'm not changing my schedule, I'm not changing my goals, and I'm not leaving. Despite my hopes for this channel getting an enormous reality check through the sluggish growth I've experienced, my ambitions for this channel haven't wavered one bit. If anything, they're stronger because I'm now a seasoned editor, a seasoned scriptwriter, and acclimatized to the act of content creation in general. So what is this video getting at, and where's the next review, you damn bum? I hear many of you asking. Well, I don't know when the next review is. That's because I'm cutting my normal reviews entirely. The only reviews that will remain are my monstrous ones that work more like case studies than consumer reviews. My favorite thing to do is to dissect every little design decision in a game. Some people scoff at that and would call it nitpicking. I say that's bull. The vast majority of these tiny decisions are made with clear intentions when a game is being built. So I say it's fair to look at them under that same microscope and see how they affect the game as a whole, even if their impact is minuscule. This isn't necessarily used as a way to damn the game for everything it does wrong, just to explore why a game may or may not come together as a whole. Originally, there weren't supposed to be smaller and larger reviews. I was intending to go into whatever depth was required for any game, but that all changed when I reviewed Final Fantasy IX. I was really passionate about making a masterpiece out of that critique, so I treated it differently. It was the most fun I'd had up to that point, outside of the very first review, but at that point, I looked at all the games I wanted to review, and I also realized that there was no way I was going to be able to do all of those critiques that same amount of justice. I tried, and tried, but it just doesn't work. Particularly when it's a game that maybe a ton of people haven't played, and therefore requires tons of monotonous, mechanical explanation, like I'm some sort of game manual. It's not fun, it's not effective, and it's not interesting. What's interesting is talking about why pressing A makes the character jump in the exact arc they do, not the fact that A makes them jump in the first place. I tried to fill the gap in with editorials that were super technical, but when I'm already needing to play through an entire 30-hour game for the review coming up in a month, and then I need late game footage from 3 other games for an editorial about butts or whatever, the editorials suffer as well. You've probably noticed that I started talking more general conceptually, that way I could use general gameplay footage from that game, sometimes even other games entirely because the footage matters so little. Easy to edit, doesn't require playing through dozens of games for 3 minutes of footage from each, but also not fun to watch. Now, I can't promise that this will change completely, but over the last 6 or 7 months I've gotten much more used to pacing and scheduling which editorials to do, so that I'm not swamped. And with them taking the place of the smaller reviews entirely, I don't even have to worry about the two conflicting. That's right, editorials are now the main bread and butter of this channel, with the case study reviews being the rare cherry on top whenever I can get one done. Instead of reviewing a game and talking about a bunch of useless junk just so that I could bring up the few things that game does so well or so poorly that it serves as a great learning tool, I can just jump straight into the best parts. I suppose you can think of it as something like Game Maker's Toolkit, but more grounded and less British. As much as I love Game Maker's Toolkit, I don't want my stuff to feel like I'm an educator educating students, but rather like I'm one game designer talking to another over the water cooler at work. I want it to feel more personal and conversational. Beyond all of that, I'm also working on yet another intro/aesthetic, one that's for once actually cohesive and professional. I've learned what works best with my editing style, as well as what takes the least amount of extra work for the highest quality. Most of these aesthetics won't show up for a while though, since I want to wait until I can finally upgrade my computer. Higher level editing sucks when your computer can't even handle more than one video channel on the timeline, let alone tons of effects and such. But that's fine, because it ultimately gives me the chance to iron out the wrinkles in the new structure for the channel. The other thing of note is that I'll still try to put little things on the channel here and there to fill space. I try and respect the feed of my subs as much as possible by not uploading any junk that I myself don't find really funny or interesting. So hopefully these little bite-sized things or random clips of gameplay that I found interesting or whatever don't bother anyone too much. We'll see how all this goes. Hopefully it'll lend my work a little more focus, much more brevity, and more impact. If it doesn't, we'll see where we can go from there. But for now, this change makes sense as a way to make content that's easier to digest, more fun to make, and maybe even more popular. An enormous thanks to Bob Wolf from the Wolf Den channel for really diving in and giving me a ton of useful feedback. In my experience, it's rare for such a small creator to get such detailed, nuanced answers to questions from bigger, more knowledgeable, and more seasoned ones. Generally, you instead either get no response, or the response you do get is the same kind of stuff you could find in dozens of how to succeed on YouTube videos. You end up feeling really sort of left out to dry when that stuff doesn't seem to be working out for you, but that's the only response you get. So check out the Wolf Den channel, linked in the description, if you're interested in more generalized opinion pieces on relevant gaming topics. On top of that, being an artist like myself, he has a series on Shoddycast all about art in games, which is something super rare and super interesting that I absolutely love. And heck, even if you're not interested in any of that, his brother Will does content on comics and stuff on the same channel. And they have a podcast. And a Twitch channel. They do a lot of stuff, you guys. It's all super down to earth, and the content flows like a river compared to the trickle I can output. And it's all extremely high quality. Anyway, that's it from me for now. If you have any other feedback, throw it my way. Take care. Hey, thanks for watching this video. If you're interested in another one, here's the last one that I uploaded. You can also follow me on Twitter or subscribe by hitting the subscribe button.